It always starts with you singing, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone. We are back once again, continuing our Studio Ghibli retrospective. And today we're at Porco Rosso, which I had seen before only once. And I think
Crimson Pig.
The Crimson Pig, the Crimson Chin.
I feel like if it was called Crimson Pig, I would have been like, this is going to be great from the get-go. I didn't have a clue. I thought, yeah, but I know, but I just thought it was a name. I was just like, okay. And then there was a pig, and I was like, cool. And then it reminded me of Porky Pig because he's in a plane, and the whole thing with the Looney Tunes game on Game Boy. I don't know if you ever played that when you're in a plane and you play as Porky Pig.
No, I don't think
and
so.
It reminded me of that, and I thought this is really cool. But if it was called Crimson Pig, I'd have been like, awesome. And then I'd just been sad that he was pink and not crimson. So, so it would actually, to be fair, it would have been a letdown. He's not really even pink, is he? He's more just.
Oh, he's a pig-coloured pig. Yeah,
but it's like when people say we're white people. We're not like white, are we? We're like cream people. And also, how are Asians yellow people? This is a strange curveball, but I don't understand it.
Right, bringing it back to the movie real quick. Directed by Hayao Miyazaki, 1992. This one, based on another manga. I didn't realize that so many of these were based on mangas before. I thought a lot of them were sort of like original creations. I don't know how long running the manga was. Maybe it's still going. I don't know, because manga goes on for a fucking long time, doesn't it? Like, is it Dragon Ball Z like still going? Or
Dragon Ball's been going. Dragon Ball will just never end.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It'll be like Only Fools and Horses, where it'll just keep coming back every now and then. No one will ask for it, but it'll come back.
Oh, okay. Porco Rosso. Porco Rosso. Sorry. It was a 15-page, one-volume manga. There you go. Okay, yeah, it was all one and done. I don't know anything.
Take you 5 minutes to get through.
That time says proper porn star name in it. Porco Rosso.
It is for a fat porn star, and we don't do that.
Yeah. It reminds me of like Jet Porkins from Star Wars. You know, that one fat X-Wing pilot.
I don't understand fat porn stars because, like, you've got to think, right? If you're looking for something and you're actively like searching for a thing, you want it to be the best. Why would you actively search for smelly cheese? Why would you do that? I don't get it. It's like that's what you have a wife for. You settle and go, that's cool. She's got her flaws, but we love her in other ways. Porn star, all they've got going for them is their body. So why would you look for the worst body? I don't know.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. Contrast, maybe. Yeah.
So, that's why contrast. That's why you go for a black girl as well. Anyway, moving on.
Well, the one of the main female leads in this, Madame Gina, that's also a porn star name right there. She loves her some Porco Rosso. You know, she's trying to get with him. She likes that pig man.
She's proper, bit of bestiality going on.
It's very vague in the film, isn't it? I actually forgot that they drew reference to that. I thought he was just an anthropomorphic pig, but they mention, and maybe it goes into this more in the actual manga, they say that someone put a spell on him that turned him into a pig man. Yeah, I guess so, in a way.
She wants to bang him even though he's an animal.
Mm-hmm. Can you just bump my volume down just a tad more, please? There is a moment in the film, though, which I was actually going to ask your opinion on. So there's two moments in the film where people get a glimpse of his real face. Not counting his flashback. There's a moment where it's when Theo is trying to get some sleep, but she can't get to sleep, and she looks over and she sees him in his human form. And then very, very quickly, he snaps back to his pig form. So I think that was just her having a vision there, maybe. And then towards the end of the film, when you have Curtis, he looks over and says, "Wait a minute, your face has changed. Let me get a quick glimpse at you." Why do you think that is, that his face was changing? Personally, I saw it that he wasn't a very... He did have honor. I was going to say he's not a very honorable man. He's just sort of become a bounty hunter, and he's, very down in his luck. He's not sort of living the high I keep wanting to say honorable. He's just sort of living for himself. He's quite selfish, I suppose. And he doesn't really have any cares or concerns or ties to anyone. He wants to fly solo. And it's not until the very end where he does the noble thing, and he finds out that someone loves him, and he gets Theo off to safety, in which his face turns back to human. So I'm wondering if that has something related to that. He does a noble action, that's a selfless action, and therefore he turns back to a human.
What if it's kind of again like Beauty and the Beast. It's what if it's the whole, so like your face is different, like he looks different to other people as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That whole he might physically look different, but also everyone interprets him differently as well.
Yeah, because I kept wanting to say that he's not honorable, but he is, because we open the film where there's these sky pirates, and I actually did quite like the humor in this intro. How you have these pirates that are very similar to the ones from Castle in the Sky. Actually, I found sort of like the comedic side to them.
That's what it reminded me of.
They're not like terrifying, threatening pirates. They're just kind of like a band of buffoons, really, that are completely in over their head, and they try and steal. It's like it sounds a bit dodgy, but like a children's. Is it a ship that they're trying to like pirate? They're trying to commandeer the ship, and they're taking these kids for hostages, right? And all the kids are like part of the swimming team, so they can all just like swim, and they just jump off the plane. And the kids are actually a lot more with it than the pirates. That you've got a couple of the kids in the crow's nest saying, "Hey, I saw a red plane," and the guy who's in the crow's nest, who's meant to be keeping lookout, he's like, "What? Where? I didn't see it." And the kids were like, "Yeah, but we saw it. There's a pig flying a red plane over there." I quite liked that humor. It was very, very light-hearted. As the film went on, there are some more serious moments, including one of my favorite scenes, probably out of all the Studio Ghibli films we reviewed so far, is the background for this video. Like, that whole sequence was just phenomenal. I love the way that was handled. But yeah, I think it sort of deals with its tones very well, because it is a very light-hearted sort of adventure, flying plane movie. But there are some moments of like real substance and some quite serious scenes to it too, and I think it balances the tones very well.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes on like what you said when you know about Totoro as well. You said to me the whole it has more of a plot. It has more of that sort of thing going on rather than just that lightheartedness, I guess. I mean, Totoro obviously had the serious elements, but it was just kind of it did have a plot, but well, obviously it did have a plot, but it was just like a nice, fun movie. Whereas this was more of a, okay, this is going on, this is going on. So yeah, there was a nice contrast between the two, and even because you even have like this. I don't know if I'd say slapsticky humor, but like when they're like in the water and they're like punching each other and stuff, and it's quite like it's that sort of just silliness, which I think goes really, really well with it. Which this is what I love about a lot of Japanese stuff is they manage to incorporate that kind of silly humor in certain aspects where you think, why does this go here? But it's great. It's like it's just like the main character's a pig, and I mean at the end of the day, I know obviously it's a curse put on him, blah 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 blah. But essentially, it's just because we wanted the main character to be a pig. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like going back to Dragon Ball. The king is a dog, like just because we wanted a blue dog to be the king. Like that's it. There's no reason to it. It's just that they've come up with a little backstory here. That's fine. But I just like how there's just the silly elements that are just like just because it just doesn't make sense and it's just there, and that's what's great about it.
Yeah. There's a question here for you, Dale. Bath Time says, are these Studio Ghibli films worth watching, or just the most famous ones? Chris is too in love with animation and DVDs to be a reliable source. Hey, what are you trying to say?
To be fair, no, I do think they are. I think there's more. I was going to say I feel like there's more of I wouldn't say there's more of a slow period than Disney movies or anything like that. I think it's like any franchise where you're gonna have those slower moments. I would say if you're a fan of anime and that sort of stuff, it's worth just go through them. It's one of those where, like, I mean, Disney movies is just one of those things that you would just go through and just say, it's fun loving to go through the whole thing. There will be drop offs, but it's, you'll make up your mind which ones are drop offs. If you really love anime and that sort of stuff, it's the same sort of vibe. If anime is not as much your thing, then I would say not everything's going to be your cup of tea. You are going to get those ones where you just think straight away, unless you're in love with all the sort of tropes that they do. But there's definitely a good handful that are just like Totoro, but then again, I like Japanese anime, but Totoro is one of those where I say is really great, but I think if you don't like that style, I think it would be quite hard to get into because it is quite just the way it is. But yeah, no, they're worth going to. But I would say if you're just sort of like thinking, I don't know whether to watch them, I would say start with a big one first. And if you like that, go into the others. I wouldn't say just start from the first one. I think the reason we start from the first is because obviously we want to do them all. We like animated movies. I like Japanese anime, that sort of stuff. So, but if it's sort of casual, I'd say start with a big one first. If you like it, then cool. The others are really, really good. But the thing is, I think about these, they've got a certain style to them, which is that cultural thing, isn't it? Really, like I say with anime, with the whole like the main character's a pig. You know, sometimes people, and I think it was you yourself even said that. I was saying about, like, for instance, I absolutely love Final Fantasy, and there was one in particular I could just think of where, like, I can't remember exactly what happens, but you're going to meet this guy, then he's a turtle. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, and I think even you said to me, like, yeah, it sounds kind of cool, but then you do this, and then there's a turtle, and then, like, I'm like, why? And then I'm riding a chicken, and I'm kind of confused. So you have to kind of have a different kind of mentality for it, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, I think these films are very, very differently paced to what we're used to as a Western audience.
Yeah.
If you're used to your Disney animated films, just a very, very different look, feel to them. In the case of, Grave of the Fireflies, so very different, completely mature, very hard hitting, very impactful, and it is just a completely different feel to these Studio Ghibli films. But there is a real, genuine beauty to these films, and each one of them feels so different and has something unique to say.
Do you remember the Hitler character in this?
The what?
The Hitler character with the scar on his face, and he's got Hitler hair.
Are you talking about, like, the main villain, Curtis? Like,
Yeah, he's got Hitler hair.
He's got like a slicked comb. I suppose he has.
He's got Hitler hair.
But he's got like a pencil tash, hasn't he? He's like a Dick Dastardly kind of character.
Yeah, he's like Hitler and Dick Dastardly put together.
Yeah. Bath Time says, if you like Beauty and the Beast, there's a bizarre spiritual remake of it with Adam Sandler called Punch Drunk Love.
Fucking Adam Sandler. Do you know what? When I was a kid, I liked Adam Sandler, but now I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Like, it's that kind of thing. I mean, I've got nothing wrong with him. I just think, do you ever see Grown Ups? That was fucking shit.
They've done Happy Gilmore 2's out now, isn't it? Which is meant to be.
I spoke to someone about this the other day, and I was telling them my disdain for sequels. I don't hate every sequel, but, I've said this many times. Like, they're just, and it's one of them. Like, it doesn't need a sequel. And someone's like, I'm guessing you haven't watched it then yet. And I was like, no, and I never will, because it didn't need a sequel. What was the point? It's probably going to be absolutely fucking awful. So,
can you just bump my volume
it's
down?
like when people have two kids. It's like, you didn't need two. The next one's just going to be a little prick. So what's the fucking point? Same kettle of fish.
Bath Time says, anime isn't my thing. The habit of characters saying exactly what they think and everything on the nose is pretty boring.
Do you know what? This is the thing. I mean, I love the weirdness, and this is why, I mean, one of my favorite books is Alice in Wonderland. Like, I love the weirdness. I love things like that. And I mean, I know it's not anime, but I just love things that, you come away thinking, why? Just because, and you're like, okay, cool. And I just like that. So that's the one thing I love about anime. Yeah, it is very different, isn't it? And it is something where you kind of have to. I mean, you do kind of love it or you hate it, don't you? It's one of those things where you either get it or you don't, and if you don't, that's fine. But yeah, I think
only some of them have done that, though. I know when we talked about Naishka, there was a lot of it in that.
That's the thing. I think Studio Ghibli is one of them where it's. They are a studio where it's like, look, even if you don't like anime, there's probably still a couple in here that you'll like. But I'm excited for Spirited Away because of the whole, I think it's going to be a very me kind of thing that I think I'll really love. But it also seems very anime-like. So as much as they say start with the big ones, I have not watched it yet, so I don't know. But I wonder whether that'll be one that's like, yeah, it's a little bit too anime for you, if that makes sense.
Well, you talked about Alice in Wonderland. There's a lot of Alice in Wonderland connections with that.
I sometimes like the on the nose thing. Like sometimes where people are like, oh my god, and I'm like, chill, you'll be fine. Like this was many years ago. I was watching. This wasn't when I was a kid, but I was a bit older. I was watching Yu-Gi-Oh, and it was on Netflix, and this was quite a few years ago. And I just found it hilarious because Yu-Gi-Oh is still great, but they were just doing some weird. They're like, one person was stood on the edge of a cliff and being like, if you attack me with that card, I will fall and die. And they were so serious about it. And I was there just like, it's a fucking card game. Why? Why are you so serious? But it was great. And I mean, I love it, but it's just, yeah, sometimes that stuff is great. I find it so amusing. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you people? You got some problems.
Now, I watched the subtitled version of this film, as I have done and will continue to do with all of the Studio Ghibli films. You've been watching the dubbed versions, and I have actually seen this dubbed one once before, and the voice talents in it are fantastic because you've got Michael Keaton as Porco Rosso. You've got Cary Elwes, who I'm assuming is the Curtis character, right? I'm guessing that's
You've
the role.
got Jumba in it as well.
Oh, is he in it? Oh, who does he play?
Yeah, Piccolo.
Is he the pirate? Oh, the guy who runs the play. Yeah,
Jumba. I was there. Like, I know this voice. It's fucking Jumba.
And then, if I remember correctly, you've got the voice actress. Is it Susan Egan or Susan Egan? She did the voice of Meg from Hercules.
Can't remember her name, but yeah,
I
think the voice acting is great. I think think they're great to listen to.
Mm-hmm. So I think similar to some of the other Ghibli films, actually, there was an English dubbed version that was created in. Have they done two versions of the dub of this?
I think so. I think that's what I read briefly. Similar sort of thing. I don't know how often that's a thing for, though, because I don't think that was a thing forever.
So they did an English dub apparently in 2002, and then Disney redubbed it in 2005. So I'm assuming that one, with Michael Keaton, that's going to be the Disney dubbed one, right?
Yeah, I remember when Disney would do things and it was good.
Yeah, what was the last good thing that they did?
I think Last Jedi was all right. That was a good last movie.
You can't say that with a straight face. Wow, genuinely. Yeah.
Do you know one thing I love about this though, and it's in the end credits. You know the picture drawn stuff in the, but I think that's really cool. I do like that kind of thing. You get a lot of that with. I do like when they include that. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 3 in particular does it as well. Towards the end, there's like some drawn sort of stuff, and I think that's really great. I think it's cool seeing stuff like that. So that was a nice little touch as well.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the animation. I mean, like all the Ghibli films, the animation is just absolutely flawless. But this one, they seem to really up the ante with a lot of the action scenes and the flight sequences, because there's a lot of them in this film. And we've talked about how Miyazaki has an affinity for aviation, planes, for the history of planes and everything like that. And there's a lot of that in this film. Characters.
Hang on. What are birds?
What are birds?
Yeah, no, not as in like what are they, but like aviation is planes and flying and stuff. What's birds? It's like
an aviary is where you keep birds.
Yeah, but isn't there so birds are is aviary.
Aviary is where you keep birds. Yes. Words have meaning. Words have history, and
no, I know, but there's another one that's similar, that's different, but I don't know, but there's a thing.
I think you're thinking of Avery.
Maybe. I don't know, but there was a thing that was similar in my mind. I'll make a point. I don't know. There's a thing, but anyway, we'll come back to it when I think of it.
But yeah, you can see. I mean, I haven't seen all of the Ghibli films yet. There might be one that even outdoes this one, but to me, this is just Miyazaki having a whale of a time. Like, a lot of the character names, the character surnames, are based on people who are prolific in the history of aviation. I think like the character Curtis, I think that relates to someone else, and just the history of the planes as well. The Ghibli, I think it is a plane, isn't it, or it's some component of a plane. You can see it in the film. It's written Ghibli, and at first I thought, is that just a tie to the studio? But I remember that's also one of the reasons that was the formulation of the name Studio Ghibli for the company. It was based on a desert wind rolling in from the east that was going to shake up the animation studio, but it also relates to planes as well, an Italian plane that Miyazaki really likes. And you could just see his love of that all over this film. There's beautiful sequences where Porco will just be flying his plane, and you just get like the most picturesque landscapes in the animation, and it's him just flying his plane above the clouds, and it's just so wonderfully done.
That's
the action scenes
scene, isn't it, as well?
Yes, yeah. The action scenes are intense as well, and it just looks absolutely flawless. Really, really good stuff on this one. This is actually probably one of my favorite ones that we've watched so far. And I really like the sort of the setting and the tone of this film. A lot of it reminds me of film noir aspects to it. If you've seen something like Casablanca, I know this is set like 20 or so years before that film set. but you have that hotel bar where a lot of the
Do you
pirates go
remember?
to, and the femme fatale character, and
Do you remember Carrot Blanca?
Carablanca.
Carrot Blanca with Bugs Bunny.
I feel like I've seen that. Yeah,
That was fun. That was a fun little thing.
but you have Porco, who's sort of this very stoic, sort of cuts himself off like I haven't got time for you, dame. Like I've got to get in my plane, and I see. Like he's sort of a character that reminds me of that and those tropes. And then you have Gina, who's this absolutely wonderful femme fatale. She comes out and she sings that song in French, doesn't she, in the bar? Almost like Jessica Rabbit a little bit in Who Framed Roger Rabbit, how she has that musical number and everyone in the bar's sort of fawning over it. Everyone's in love with her.
I've never understood Jessica Rabbit. I was never really into her when I was a kid because all these people were just like, oh, but she's like, you grow up and everyone's like, Jessica Rabbit. And I'm like, is she?
Now everyone looks like her.
Do you know what? I don't get it. I see girls do that. I'm like, what are you doing? Why? Like, I just don't understand. I've never understood Jessica Rabbit. Never understood it.
So tonally I really appreciate this one, and I was actually looking to see if any film noir, like if any films were what's the word I'm looking for, an inspiration to Miyazaki for this, and I couldn't see any evidence of that, but that's just something that I got from it. I don't know if you picked up on any of those aspects to it.
I was trying to work. No, I can't. Yeah, I can't think of anything in particular.
And does he get the girl at the end? Does he get Gina at the end? Because we get a little bit of an epilogue, don't we, where Theo says that she never saw Porco again after he put her in the plane and got her to safety.
Or instead of saying "Does he get the girl," you could say "Does he get to Porco?"
Oh, there we go. Wonderfully done, sir. I think he did, because there was a whole thing where he had a promise to Gina that he'd one day settle down with her when everything was done, and she was waiting for him, and he was always sort of flying in his plane and doing his thing, and he'd never sort of settle down. He'd always be on the run, or you'd have like the Italian government sort of chasing him down.
It would be quite like a Han Solo Princess Leia thing, like Episode 7, where like you come back for a weird sequel and they'd be broken up, and
maybe
they would have this kid who's like now an absolute dick, and just like I don't know. I feel like that would be the thing. I don't think they'd stay together.
There was talk of a possible sequel, actually. While you're on the
good thing it didn't happen.
I mean, this goes all the way back to 2011. Miyazaki said that he wanted to make a sequel. I think they even had a working title, which was Porco Rosso: The Last Sortie. And it was going to be
set Jedi. Why are we doing this?
It was going to be set during the Spanish Civil War, but it never saw the light of day. And
do you know what I don't get though? Because we do pointless sequels, but how many times do you get back with an X and go, "This is good. This is going to be a good thing." People always say, "Don't do it." So why do we do sequels? It's the same thing.
Never is.
Never is. That's why sequels are pointless. We don't do it.
One aspect of this film that I really wanted to talk about, which I didn't remember from the first time I watched it, and I thought it was handled perfectly, is, and I'm gonna drop a word now, and I don't want you to like run in fear from it, because it's actually done in a really positive light in this film. The feminism angle in this film, I thought was absolutely expertly handled.
Yeah, there was. Do you know what? I did think that, because it was like, what was it? Where she's like, "Is it because I'm a woman?" And I think that that was. Yeah, do you know what? It was. It was done quite well, and I did find it funny though.
Bath Time says, "Right, boys, got to run. Enjoy the stream." No worries, man. Thanks for tuning in and keeping the conversation going, man. Thank you.
You know, women weren't allowed credit cards until like the 1970s.
I did not know that. No,
that's the thing. Yeah,
because Japan. I know this is set in Italy, but Japan, very very clear cut gender roles between everyone, and they do play with that.
Yeah, Japan's weird because just in general, no, but like Japan's like it's an interesting one, because I think I mean, I've never been. I know bits about them, but I'm sure there's a lot I don't. And but like what was it? It was I was reading a Black Sabbath book, and they were talking about how years and years and years ago, when they went over there, like in the crowds, they would like, I think they'd play a song and the crowd clapped like really kind of elegantly and quite soft, and they were a bit like, "This is weird." And they did that after sort of every song, and then at the end, that was only when they kind of cheered. And their manager was like, "Yeah, that's what they do over here. They kind of clap between, and then like so." Basically, the point is, it's just there is a lot of differences, and I think even David Lee Roth said like it was 2012 they went over there, and he was just like, "This is the first time we've gone over here, and they've been able to stand up because they've only just gotten rid of the chairs. Years ago, they'd have to sit." So yeah, it is a very different culture that you don't think about, which doesn't always come across. But it does, if that makes sense, because like you think you're going to go over there, it's quite futuristic. It's like loads of technology, there's loads of this, but there's a lot of the culture differences which you don't really think about because I think it's one of those places where I mean, if you go to like an African country, you think of there's differences, like it's got like not a rep, but like if you think of more of a third world African country, you think about how they're different kind of lifestyle, they're this and that. Japan, not being a third world country, is very sort of they do have that different lifestyle, but because it's not a third world country. I don't know if this sounds really racist, but do you know what I mean? But because it's not a third world country, what I mean is you don't think of all the differences as much. But there are quite a lot of cultural differences, I think. And it's interesting when, like things like that come up where to us it might just be quite casual and you think, has more meaning that they've brought it up there, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, because you have Porco's character in this who he's a little bit lecherous, you know. He's got a bit of notoriety about him, and you know he'll be flirting with the ladies and stuff like that. He's a bit forward in some parts, but also other times he's just like a straight up misogynist. Like he goes to Piccolo and he says, "I need a design done for my plane." He says, "Oh yeah, my granddaughter can sort that out," and she's very enthusiastic, and she's like, "Give me a chance," and he's like, "You know what? I'm going to go somewhere else." And she says, "Is it because I'm a woman or because I don't have experience?" And he says, "It's a little bit of both." So I'm going to go elsewhere. I'm going to go to a bloke. But she proves herself, and she's really adamant, and she's not sort of. I say she's not pushy about it. I mean, she never gets like angry, pissed off, or riled up about it, because that probably is just that's how it be, especially in the time that this is meant to be set in as well. But you know, through her own diligence and hard work and perseverance. And Porco sees this, you know, and she stays up all night and she creates that blueprint. She says, "Look, I want to be on your plane as you fly it in case I need to do any last minute fixes while we're in the air." She's with him every step of the way, and they do become partners. And there are moments where, in that bit where she draws up the plan, he says, like, "But you've stayed up all night, but you also need some sleep because that's when good work gets done. And also it keeps you attractive, or it makes you look
I
lovely."
would disagree. Good work gets done when you're fucking knackered.
I agree.
You're there going, I'll give it. You know what? I think I'm gonna just like start doing this. Like I'll play guitar. I'm fucking shattered. And that's when the good shit comes out. And then before you know it, it's 8 a.m, and you're like, "Oh shit! I've been here for 4 hours. I haven't slept, and I'm on my 10th cup of coffee." And then you almost have a heart attack. But you know, it's where the good work comes from.
And I was worried at first. I thought, oh god, are they going to do some kind of romantic thing? Because she's like really young, like Theo and Porco Rosso, and they never do that. It's a very respectful partnership that the two of them have. And there are moments where I won't say she becomes like a damsel in distress, but she sort of voluntarily puts herself up for potential marriage at the end. She's like, if Porco wins, you pay off all of his debts. And if you win, then you get to marry me. You know, she puts herself on the line. She takes charge when the pirates surround them. She takes the upper hand there. She manages to turn the pirates to her will and offers sort of like a counter offer to them and gets them all on her side. And the moment that I appreciated the most about that is that she did show how headstrong she was and how intelligent she was in that scene and handled the situation perfectly. And as soon as that situation's diffused and the pirates have gone away, the reality of the danger they were in just kind of sets in. She says, "My knees are shaking," and she starts welling up and crying. And she says, like, I need to go for a swim. Like, I just need to like get out of here and do something else. I thought that was a real genuine human moment, because if you're ever in a situation like that where adrenaline kicks in and you handle that situation, then you kind of snap back to reality. And I thought that was just like a real genuine human moment. I'm glad that was in there.
Yeah, it's I think there's a lot of levels to this, which is quite nice. They're not big levels. They are quite subtle levels. I don't think there's anything over the top where you think, oh, they're trying to push this or do this subtext or blah 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 blah. But there's just little things in there which I think are quite nice.
And you've got all the people who work at Piccolo's as well are all members of his family, and they're all women, and they're all getting their hands dirty, and they're all making everything, and they never make a huge deal with it. I think it's just really cool, and it shows that they're very capable. And I think if I think we talked about this on a previous I think it's when we did talked about Lord of the Rings, maybe. It's a fine balance. Like, you can have stuff like this in a movie, but I could imagine something coming out now like, yeah, us girls get it done, rolling the
Yeah.
sleeves up kind of thing and making a big deal of it. Whereas it's like, look, it's got to be done. Like, we're getting stuck in. It's just getting done. And I
Yeah.
think when they say grace at the table or something, he says like, I'm sorry that all this work's had to be done, with female hands. And he's not saying, he means like how delicate hands they have, and they're having to be like men and work laborious jobs and everything. And he says like, we're very grateful to you for doing all of this work. So I didn't remember that whole feminism aspect to it, but I thought it was absolutely masterfully handled, and gives us two great female characters in this with Gina and Theo, who both exemplify very feminine traits. I think that's the issue with a lot of modern stuff, is that they think that the only way to have a female character is to make them masculine, and neither of the female
Like
characters.
Granny in Space Jam 2.
Yes, exactly. Whereas the female characters in this still retain their femininity, but exude their own strength through that. They don't have to become men essentially to prove themselves. If they do have any quote unquote masculine traits, there's still enough of the femininity there and the vulnerability in there, which
Don't you find it funny how, like, what's it called? So obviously, yeah, like you say, there's the the femininity, and they stay female, they do whatever. It's kind of like, so there was a girl I went to school with. She went off and did like, what is she? When we left and went to college, she went off and did like plumbing and I can't remember, but something like that. Like she went to like a, what's the word? Not construction, but like a technical college. You know what I mean? That sort of thing. Anyway, when I did that sort of stuff, and was quite sort of like, would wear like overalls, do blah 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 blah. But then, when like it went to like a prom or something like that, like she'd be there in a dress, look all feminine and stuff like that. So you can have both sides. And I think one of the things that a lot of this fucking generation and shit just always get wrong, it's well, especially when they say the whole like, oh, I identify as a man, and it's basically just saying, to do that you have to be a man. Essentially, they are just really, really sexist, and it's true though, isn't it? They are really, really sexist, because they'll turn around and go, "Oh, I identify as a man. I do like hands-on work and stuff like that." I was like, "You can be a woman and do hands-on work.
You can do both, yeah."
And you're accusing me of being sexist, but you're actually being really sexist by doing that and saying, "I'm like, oh, it fucking irritates me." But yeah, but the point is, like you say, it's like you can sort of do both sides of it, and that's what I think a lot of modern things always seem to forget. So it is quite nice to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just really appreciated all of the characters in this. Even Curtis, who's like a bit of a dick by the end of the film, he's actually an all right guy, isn't he? Like, he's not.
Why do they always have a fucking scar?
Oh yeah, he does have a scar. Yeah, no, you're right.
Why do they always have a scar? Who's the other guy with the scar? Not in this, but the villain.
Scar?
No, well, yeah. It's like there's someone I think it. Who's the guy that does the thing?
In a Ghibli film?
No, is it the villain in Action Man or something has a scar?
Oh yeah.
Is it? It might be. I'm thinking, but
I was going to say Professor X. Is it Doctor X or something?
I don't know, but there's always that trope, isn't there, where they've just got like a scar under them, and just like no one knows why. It's just
Anakin in episode 3.
Yeah, there's always something just to be like, oh, but they've got a scar because they've gone through it. They've done something. You're like, okay.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite scenes in this film, and I had to mention it because I've done it as the wallpaper for this, really caught me off guard, this scene. I thought it was an absolute, just beautiful, beautiful sort of respect for people that died in the war, but also like a wonderfully haunting yet beautiful image. It's the moment where Theo can't get to sleep, and she asks Porco to tell her a story, and he starts telling a story from World War One, how they were in this horrendous dogfight and that people were dying on all sides, and he didn't think he was going to make it. He flew above the clouds, blacked out, and what he sees is this beautifully stunning image. It almost looks like a constellation in the sky almost. And then as the scene goes on, you realize that it's all the planes of the fallen, sort of like a plane heaven, if you will, I suppose. And all of his fallen comrades from both sides rise up above the clouds, and he's like shouting at them. He's saying like, no, 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 I'll go in your place, you know, you, but they're all dead, and they're all just sort of like rising into heaven to join this massive formation of planes in the sky. I thought, what a wonderfully beautiful image that is. And I think the music in that scene as well is quite compelling. But it wasn't his time yet. And then he dips below the clouds and he mentions that then he came to and he was flying above the Adriatic, and he was on his own. That scene just really stuck with me, and I wasn't expecting something like that. So that's what I mean. There are those serious moments, and I think what was happening around in at the time around the production of this film was that you had there was a conflict on. I think it was a war in Yugoslavia at the time, and various other conflicts, and that definitely impacted the way that this film was made. And I think that it was given more of a serious tone, because I don't think it was initially going to be. The film was planned to be a short in-flight movie for Japan Airlines. And then as it grew, you know, it bloomed into a feature-length film. And then, yeah, through various conflicts and whatnot, it sort of took on more of a serious tone. Not overly serious, though. As I say, like, it balances the tone very well. It still overly feels like quite light-hearted still, but it does have moments of impact like that, which I really appreciated.
Fireflies?
Yeah, oh my god.
Fireflies.
But the music as well. Joe Hisaishi comes back to do the score for this, and this might be one of my favorites. There's
it's not Totoro though, is it? It's not Totoro though, is it?
Totoro has embedded itself in that tune will not leave my head.
Yeah, that's just that. It's not that. Doesn't win. Nothing's beaten Totoro.
But the maybe Princess Mononoke. That soundtrack is glorious.
What number's that?
That's a very good question. I've got the list here.
There's a lot of blood in that, isn't there?
Oh, we're not far off. 3 weeks. 3 weeks.
Yeah, that's one I'm looking forward to. But no, the music doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't beat Totoro. Totoro's like on par with fucking like Little Mermaid. Like Totoro's cool.
Yeah. It's a great soundtrack. It's a great soundtrack, but I love the one to this as well. There's so many beautiful tracks. As I said, there's a great playlist on Spotify that I'm listening to of piano covers of a lot of the Ghibli songs, and I was listening to. I tend to always listen to the ones of the film that we're talking about that week, so it's been great listening to the Porco Rosso stuff today. Yeah, solid film. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I can say about this one. You've talked about the English voice acting. What was Michael Keaton like as the lead?
Oh yeah, no, I do like him. I do like him as the lead, but I don't think he's the standout. Awesome. Like I think the thing is, this is not me putting it down and saying, oh, he's right. It's saying he's good, but I think as an overall, a lot of the cast were just really, really well done. And I think the voices went really, really well with the rest of them. I don't think he was to me, he wasn't a standout. Like, oh, it's Michael Keaton. It was just like all these voices just go really, really well together. I think the chemistry between the characters is great in terms of the voices and everything. Yeah, Michael Keaton is great, but I think he just plays it well as it is. It's not a whole like, yeah, but it's Michael Keaton. You need to. Do you get what I mean?
Mm.
Like as I say, it's not me putting a dampener on it. It's not me saying like he's not great. It's just I think they all just the level of all of them is great. I think every single one. I find it hard to pick who's if there's anyone that's a top like. I like Piccolo just because I was like, I know this voice. It's like fucking Jumbo. There you go. That's why. But yeah, I think they all work really, really well together. I think it captures the essence of it. It's remember when I think video games did it a lot, but remember years ago when video games were just shit voices, where they would just say stuff and you're like, you're a voice actor. Why don't you have chemistry in this? Or like they'd say something. I mean, this was a thing definitely in video games where a character would say something. And they would stop mid-sentence because someone would cut them off. But there'd be like a 2-second delay. And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, you were paid like thousands of pounds to just do that little bit and you just couldn't do it. It just didn't make sense to me. But the point is everything in this was just so fluid and flawless. It was great.
I found there's apparently a French dub of this film and Jean Reno plays Porco. Now I want to watch that version.
I want a version where we get like fucking like Napoleon or something. That'd be cool.
Final
Speaking
thoughts
of
on...
Hitler,
Oh,
Hitler's in Dragon Ball.
wait, what?
He is, yeah. There's a Dragon
Oh,
Ball movie,
yes.
and there's the Hitler character,
Yes,
and
yes,
he's
there is.
called, what is he called? He's called the General, I think.
Yeah,
Because
that's
they
right.
can't call him Hitler, but he is. He literally does the whole like that kind of stuff, like all the time, and it's like this is Hitler, and it's like no, it's the General. It's like, he's fucking Hitler. Look at him, it is Hitler, and he's like blonde hair, blue eyes. It's like this is Hitler.
They
And
know what they're doing. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
it's not even like kind of like there's a little bit of hint. It's this is Hitler.
Mm-hmm.
Just funny.
Final thoughts then on Porco Rosso. Like,
do you know what? I
Rosso,
thought it was good. It's one of the higher up ones, but Totoro's my favorite. Can't knock it. Like, I think I'm gonna have to try and do that on all these now and just say, right, where's not rank it completely because it's gonna be hard to do that every time, but is it like my favorite? And at the moment, Totoro's taken the. Do you know what? Grave of the Fireflies is fucking like it's good.
it's great.
I think I was when I watched Grave of the Fireflies. I think that was I wouldn't say a shock to the system, but it was a bit like didn't expect it to do this, and there was just so many like, do you know what I mean? It was, Totoro's this doesn't. It's one of the higher up ones. I wouldn't say it's a low down one of like. I think it is a good one, but yeah, I know this is like your favorite at the moment, and I wouldn't go as high as that.
I don't know if I'd say it's my all-out favorite out of all the ones that we've done, but it's definitely, unquestionably top 3 at the moment. Probably Porco Rosso for me.
Well, what about Totoro and Grave of the Fireflies and
Those are
Fish Pie?
Which one did I prefer? I probably prefer this to Kiki. I still love that film.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's about, I'd say, yeah.
It's more or less on par with that, I think. I really did enjoy Kiki's delivery service. I think, I'd probably give the edge to this one slightly. I think I do prefer this one slightly more.
Is there, right? This is the thing. I've just thought of this now. But is it a coincidence that a baby gets delivered in Kiki's delivery service?
Ah,
I've just thought of this now. Is that a coincidence?
Maybe.
I don't know. It's quite it's quite cool. I like
that. Okay, so I guess that will do it for our review on Porco Rosso. Next week, we are talking about the 1994 film Porco, which doesn't help that we've got one called Porco Rosso and Porco really right next to each other.
I don't like that. And
but there's Ponyo later on, isn't there? A few more movies.
Is that the fish one?
Yeah, it's like the Finding Nemo one, I guess. Porco, I don't know anything about this film. I've seen the poster. I know that it's about a colony of Japanese raccoon dogs. That's all I know. I think there's full frontal raccoon nudity in that film as well, which is going to be a little bit strange. But hey, there we go. I don't know if it's a good film. I don't know if it's a bad film. We're going to see what it's all about. JD says, don't forget Ocean Waves. Ocean Waves. Have I skipped a film or something? Have I skipped a Ghibli film? Ocean Waves.
Is this going to be like The Wild, where it's kind of like it is, but it isn't?
Oh, Ocean Waves. Okay, so this is where this was apparently a TV movie that was released direct to DVD internationally and received a limited theatrical release in the UK and the US. Oh shit. Okay. We may have to do Ocean Waves. Is it worth doing? Would you say we should do Ocean Waves? I mean, we can do that one in its place.
I mean, remember when someone said Dinosaur was worth doing?
Let's see. Was it actually done by... Ocean Waves was an attempt by Studio Ghibli to allow their younger staff members to make a film reasonably cheaply. I'll have a look into that. So next week is either going to be Ocean Waves or Porco. We'll see. But big thank you to everyone who's tuned in tonight. Thanks for bringing that to my attention as well, because I would not have seen that. So thank you for that, J Dude. In the meantime, let us know your thoughts on Porco Rosso. Where would it rank in your list?
I have a question about Ocean Waves. Is it about waves in the ocean, or is it someone called Ocean and they're just doing that for like? That is a good question.
So we're going to have to watch it. We're going to just to find out if that's the case. And do consider subscribing to the channel for more movie reviews, discussions, and live streams.
Isn't Ocean an Irish name?
I'm not sure. It's probably spelt with some letters in there.
It's probably spelled like SDZY9.
There's a number in there as well, because why not?
Why not? Ocean.
No, this has been awesome. Thank you to everyone tuning in. And yeah, the next video, it might actually be our Studio Ghibli one next week. I'm currently working on my Hobbit edit, so a lot of my free time's going on that and not so much streaming. But if anything does crop up or there's a video that I want to talk about, I will absolutely be jumping on here to do that. So yeah, we will be seeing you on the next video. I guess I don't know how to end this thing. I've ended loads of these videos. Why am I blanking? Oh, we got a comment. King Seaward Man, put Mac on TV stand. No, King Seaward Man, I'm not going to do that.
What?
Just enjoy the videos as they are, please and thank you. Right, thank you everyone. We'll see you on the next video. Take care.